yeah, like when I had found out I was pregnant, it was just like, oh, like let's just do this instead, just because it's kind of like a plan B. It was a medical abortion, so it didn't seem as bad, right? It was like, it's not, this abortion isn't so bad. But little did I know it would be affecting me. Even till this day, it affects me. But after I found out I was pregnant, I went to a Planned Parenthood, because at the time I didn't even know how medical abortion worked. I didn't know there was different types of abortion. It was very just like, in my head, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a pill and it's gonna be done like that. I just wanted to hurry up and do it. I didn't want to be pregnant any longer. At the clinic, I found out it was twins. It was really hard. I feel like that was like a wake-up call, and I still, went through with it. So that's really hard to just grasp. So the workers at the clinic, that, like, I still remember their faces. I remember so much, like, just walking in. I remember the people who were there. I remember the workers. The best way I can describe it is like a dentist. They bring you in and get you out. The dentist is not emotional. So at this clinic, you're doing something so much deeper. So it's like, why aren't they taking more time? Like, you're just a patient. You're not, they're not sitting with you talking like, hey, is this really what you want to do? No, they're gonna get you in and get you out. They want to get the next patient treated, Like, I had to do everything alone. I was just like closed off. I felt like I was too deep in, that I just had to get it over with, And when you're making this big decision, you're already not like thinking clearly, because you want to hurry up and get the process done. And it was just harder, like being alone. So when they're telling you all this stuff, it's like quick. It's not slowed down. Even actually towards the end of, I don't know, one of the appointments, she had a recording. She couldn't even tell me all the stuff. It had to be recorded like so fast, of all like the process. And I was like, why can't you just tell me face to face, like I'm human? And she's just talking about, she's like, okay, this is what's gonna happen, this is when it's gonna happen, and it's going that quick. Like, she's just talking, but I'm just like, why couldn't you just like look at me in my eyes and just, hey, this is what's gonna happen. You might experience this, you might experience this, you might experience regret. Never did I hear that once. You might experience regret. No, I didn't hear that once. They didn't tell me, hey, you might become, like, just be depressed, be suicidal, have regret. No, they couldn't tell me that face to face. And again, all the forms that they make you sign, you're just signing, like, again, you're not in the right headspace, so you want the process to go fast. So you're like, even they're like, does your family support you? Does your boyfriend support you? People think like medical abortion isn't so bad just because it's a pill, you're not sedated, but why has it affected me this bad, So obviously there are some red flags. So after I took the medication, it all happened so fast. I feel like within seconds, I started feeling everything. So they tell you to put, I think it's like 2 pills over here, 2 pills over here. I don't know if it's under your tongue. And you put them, I think you let them dissolve, and then you swallow it. And literally within seconds, you start feeling the process begin. Like, instantly. I remember running to the restroom, and the pain was terrible. I remember throwing up. I started freaking out. It just hurt a lot. It was very bloody. It's hard to talk about because it's gruesome. You have to see everything, and it's also very traumatizing. Just you have those images in your head. And I remember just sitting in the shower, and there's pain, you're having cramps, and there's just blood flowing, that's the reality. It's a lot of blood. And even after that, I didn't stop bleeding for almost 2 months. I also got an infection that didn't go away for maybe 5 to 6 months. So it was fast, but the effects didn't go away right away. It lasted for a long time. I was crying. I couldn't control my crying, and I would never cry like that. Before, never have I cried that bad, It hit me physically, mentally. That day, it was just a quiet day, wow, that really happened. Then that month, I was still experiencing, sadness. I was like, when is this gonna go away, And then I was like, wow, the months kept going, and I was very depressed. Those months after, never have I experienced depression like that I became suicidal. I remember just wanting a car to hit me. I was hoping a car would just hit me so I can just die. Like, I was so lifeless. It was just a really hard time. It wasn't until I feel like it takes some time to really understand what you did. So like those months after, I was sad, and then it turned into grieving, and then it turned into this deep regret, like never before regret that I felt in my life. It was just a really hard time, and I felt like abortion regret was never talked about. I feel like the only thing that has helped me cope with abortion regret is God. Like, I'm not sure how girls do it. The regret is still there, you know. I will always regret what I've done. I will always miss my babies. I do have a baby, but he's not those babies. You know, they're all different. He will never be who they were, and they will never be who he is. And he's such a joyful baby. Like, he has brought so much joy into my life, but it has definitely been a roller coaster to get to this place. It's so hard to grasp that I did that I like was able just to go to the clinic. You know, I hate how accessible it was. I hate that it was so easy just to call, just to hey, you're just gonna do this and it's done. And I felt like at the time I was like, it's just gonna erase this little part of my life. But I still think about that day every single day. I still think about who the babies would have looked like, how they would have laughed. They actually gave me like a phone number, and I had to call. I had texted right away, like, is this normal? Is this normal? And in a way I wanted to comfort, like maybe like, hey, don't do this, or I don't know. But it was kind of like I said, it was just like so dry. It was no emotion. It was just like, yes, yes. If they're pro-choice, shouldn't you give them the options, right? Talk them through, like, hey, this is gonna happen. You might experience regret, you might experience depression, like talking like this, like a human, not just, okay, this is the process. They have you go in to see if the abortion was successful. And I had some hope in me somehow that I was still pregnant. So when I went, they have you take a pregnancy test, just like on a stick, and your body's still pregnant. You know, your hormone levels are as if you're pregnant, but there's no babies. So it was like very hard to like, oh man, like even though I had an abortion, I still had hope that I was pregnant. I was very scared of the whole, I didn't want to go back there anymore. I don't even like going on that side of town anymore. Just like, it feels really heavy. I do feel like it's like still hard in that sense. When I have like memories of clothes I wore during that time, I had to give them all away. I literally went through more stuff just recently. Like, all of my drawers are really empty right now because I'm like, oh no, this reminded me, oh no, this reminded me. Like, it just takes a toll, you know, like you don't enjoy things that you once did. You know, I wanted it just to hear somebody what they really went through, because that probably would have stopped me, like, oh my gosh, it affected them that much, you know. But if you're considering an abortion just because, like I did, just because it was accessible, I would say to just slow down, go through the process of what will happen. You know, that's something I didn't really think of. I was just like wanted to hurry up, but just slow down, and just think for a second. And if there's even 1% of you questioning, then there's a red flag. I remember before my abortion, I would have like little glimpses of my future with my babies. Like, I remember just like, oh my gosh, there'll be 2 car seats in the back. I wish I could go back, because like you're already thinking of your future, you know. I feel like sometimes I can physically feel my heart hurt, like it's just like a heaviness. But yeah, it's just a really deep regret and sadness that I wish didn't exist. And something I just want to add is I feel like I became almost like a year after, I feel like I became like delusional, because I couldn't accept what I did and I wanted to go back. And there's nothing you can do. Once you had an abortion, you can never go back. You know, you can never go back to having those babies. You can never go back to that time. It was just really hard to understand that I couldn't go back in time to fix what I did.